Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Thank you very much for tuning in to the first live stream of this week. It's Monday, the 30th. Today is, we're still in March, the 30th, 2026. 2 days later, it's going to be April the 1st. So be aware of that if somebody fools you with a funny joke. And we have changed our time in Germany in the Central European time. And our moderator says that it is 12 noon time where he lives. I think that's the Eastern American time. I don't know, guys, if you're going to change your time in the United States or not. However, we changed it here and it's still 5 p.m. So let's start today's episode. And I truly miss being myself. It's not like I don't enjoy having guests. In the contrary, when I have guests, to be honest with you, especially if they have a brilliant name and a famous name, I get more views. But I also miss being myself and explaining my point of view of what is going on in West Asia, or what we call the Middle East. When we start this stream, guys, the easy thing to do to support this work, just hit the like, thumbs up, subscribe to Syriana Analysis. And thank you so much, Red Access, for being with us today in the live chat to moderate the chat there. So we are getting closer, guys, for ground invasion of Iran. A few weeks ago, I said Trump is bluffing about sending ground troops to Iran because the premise was of the previous premise that they want to occupy Iran. And I said he's not going to send 500,000 to 1 million troops to Iran to occupy the country. That's a bluff. However, nowadays, we have different scenarios and different theories surrounding the Iran war, the war of aggression against Iran, one of which is occupying the Khark island. And the issue with the Khark island, I'm going to discuss it. There are two theories about that. And the second scenario is that the United States may try to send commandos and forces or troops to Iran in order to steal its enriched uranium. And this is what Donald Trump said, if you remember, last year in June when he bombed Iran, that he obliterated it, right? It turns out that he didn't obliterate it. And now they want to send commandos or troops to Iran in order to take the enriched uranium, put them into tankers, and I don't know, drive them or in a cargo plane or something, and then take it out of Iran. It's like the most craziest Hollywood-style scenario and a plan that you could imagine. Maybe they're fooling us. We don't know, because every day Donald Trump drops some new aspirations and new crazy plans. And in the United States, if you follow the MAGA base, they're like, he's doing it on purpose. We know he is a master genius in negotiations. What is he doing here is just trying to confuse his enemy. And I truly believe that he's confusing no one. He's confusing himself. He's confusing his administration. And he's making contradictory statements. And this is what Donald Trump is and was. Since we know him, every few hours, he has a different opinion. So it's not like something new. He's not a genius. Donald Trump is not a genius. If he was a genius, the first plan of decapitation, the uprising, regime change, Shah coming back, the Middle East becoming all greater Israel project, that would have succeeded. But because he listened to fools like Jared Kushner, fools like Witkoff, and the biggest warmonger, criminal, psychopathic war criminal in the region, and that is Benjamin Netanyahu, those who he listened to. And now we have the Americans are in a very dire situation, that they have very limited options in Iran. Imagine they started with the primary goal of regime change through decapitation, and then we will send warships to the Strait of Hormuz because we want to open it through force. That also failed because nobody wants to join the United States in this suicidal mission. And now we want to send troops to the Khark island, where the Iranians have most of their fuel, basically. They want to send troops there, so they would never return back. But there is a theory about this. Stay tuned for that, because I'm going to explain why this could be a deception, and the goal might be completely different than what they are trying to state in the press openly. And now people are telling Donald Trump that probably the conspiracy in Khark that we're trying to implement could fail so badly that thousands of our troops could get killed. So now the third level of genius plan is to send troops to Iran in the most hostile country for the American troops in the world, in the most one of the most capable armies in the world, in one of the most indoctrinated people on earth against the Americans. And they have shown over and over and over again that they are not only willing to respond, but they are willing to respond so harsh against the Americans, they would not think second time and tries to come and invade this country ever again in the future. And they have proven to the world that they have the will, the determination, the capability, especially when they are under existential threat. Another thing that Iran has proven that they have true people. The Iranian people have proven to be not only patriotic, because you can see many, many people who are not nationalists and they're not like some of these conservatives. They are truly, truly on the neoliberal and liberal side, and still they're supporting their country because they see through the deception of the Americans and the Israelis, and especially after the Gaza massacre and the onslaught against the unarmed Palestinians, basically killing children, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And they're saying, no, Habibi, you're not coming to liberate us. You're lying to us. And today I'm going to show you what is the real plan and whether or not Donald Trump is planning for a ground invasion. So let's start with this. I have collected important articles for you guys. So as you're watching this, kindly just hit the like button so we could reach this stream to a wider audience. This is coming from the Times of Israel, which is close to the Benjamin Netanyahu regime. And they say an official from mediating countries. So they have talked to someone in one of the mediating countries. This could be in Egypt, this could be in Turkey, this could be in Pakistan, this could be in any other country, we don't know. And they say, or one of these people say, Trump leaning toward ground invasion, convinced Iran will then capitulate. So an official from one of the countries mediating between the United States and Iran, he spoke to the Times of Israel, and he told them that President Trump appears to be leaning toward ordering a U.S. ground operation against Iran, with Washington convinced Tehran will buckle under such military pressure. Of course, he also thought that they will buckle under the airstrikes, which never happened. And remember, guys, that Iran's weak point is its air defenses, and America's point of strength is its aerial power, which means the Iranians didn't buckle despite the fact that they have weak air defense systems and the Americans have a superior air superiority. And now they think that through a limited ground invasion, which sending 5,000 to 10,000 troops to Iran, and facing hundreds of thousands of well-armed between the IRGC and the regular army, which is their point of strength in Iran, now they're going to buckle. This is what they're trying to convince us. Okay, let's continue. The official, of course, who is intimately familiar with the mediation effort, says the U.S. privately recognizes that Iran is not likely to agree to the concessions presented in Washington's 15-point plan and has dispatched thousands of troops to the region in order to capture Tehran's Khark Island on Trump's orders. A second official from a mediating country warns that it seems that this person, whoever is talking to the Times of Israel, is from the same country. And the second person also warned that while the U.S. may be able to capture the island, holding onto it for an extended period of time will require many more soldiers and an extended period of fighting, far beyond the 4 to 6 week window that Washington has told the public that the war would last. Both officials from mediating countries say Iran is not likely to capitulate, regardless of whether a ground operation moves ahead. This could be, by the way, in Turkey. this whoever is talking to the Times of Israel, because he knows better Iran than any other country, such as in Egypt or in Pakistan. So they insist that Iran will not agree to terms now that it wasn't willing to accept before the US launched the war. Trump on Monday announced that he was delaying until Friday. So this Friday, guys, next Friday, this is what he set the deadline basically, and he has set a deadline for Iran to agree to his 15-point proposal for ending the war or facing a bombing campaign against its power plants. Now, the theory of sending troops to Khark, there is a second theory, and that is it's a mission of sabotage. And I have watched this also on our friend's show, Richard Medhurst, who has done a brilliant live streaming also the other day, 4 hours of live streaming. I don't know how he has done that without even going to the restroom. That's crazy. 4 hours of live streaming, great explanation. Kudos to Richard Medhurst for that. And he basically explained several times that one of the goals of the United States is not to occupy and stay there, is to occupy and destroy and come under attack or destroy Khark Island and the other places that they are intending on occupying. So they would deprive the Iranians from the energy resources from these places, and that's a quite evil thing to do, because they know that the regime change is not going to happen now, but what they could do is to deprive Iran of one of its main income sources, basically, in the future. So even if the war ends and the Americans withdrew from Iran, and they couldn't achieve the goal of regime change, and they couldn't change the geopolitical posture of Iran, but what they could achieve is to destroy the Khark Island, whether through Iranian retaliation or by themselves. So they would deprive Iran of one of its major income sources, so that in the future, Iran would become paralyzed and incapable of reconstruction and feeding its own people. Imagine the type of evil America is capable of inflicting upon 100 million people, basically, in this country, because they hate this, what they call the regime, so much that they are ready to starve 100 million people with the hope that in the future, when the Iranian government cannot feed its people, then the people would rise against the government. So if you're Iranian and watching this, be sure that Americans and the American administration and these planners in the United States would not hesitate to starve you to death, if that means that you would say enough is enough and I would prefer whoever is alternative, but not this government, because this government cannot feed me. But rest assured, this is the same strategy they have adopted in Syria, and they have starved the Syrian people to death. 95% of Syrians were pushed under the poverty line by the Trump administration in 2017 and 18 through the Seizure Act, which is the most brutal, barbaric, inhumane sanctions ever imposed on any nation. And they have pushed 95% of the Syrian people under the poverty line. And this has led to the demoralization of first the Syrian army, and secondly, the Syrian people and the families. And they said, why would we fight? Why would you continue fighting if after 14 years of fighting, basically, the outcome is that we are still incapable of buying bread for our children? This light behind me probably is making some jokes with me. It turns on and it turns off. Let me check if the... Okay. So, anyways. So that's the plan: starve the people so they would turn against their government. If you're Iranian, this is just my, let's say, Syrian brotherly just advice and warning. This is what the Americans are planning for you. So a few years later, when you say, I can't send my child to school, he has to work because we can't afford our family, then you know who is the reason for that. And we really hope that is not the case. We pray for the Iranian people that they won't reach to that situation like the Syrians have reached. But now some people may say that this first source of the Times of Israel may not be really reliable because they could make up stuff, right? Because in the mainstream press, it is very, how to say, it is a usual practice of making up some sources and say, oh, we have spoken to some anonymous source in the country that we cannot name, and they have told us the following. They truly do that all the time, right? But I can assure you that this is not false, because I have done now double check and how to say, like a cross reference, and I try to combine other sources to prove this point. And this is coming via a Lebanese journalist. Those who are Lebanese know him, Hassan Ali. Hassan Ali, he I think he still works for Al Akhbar newspaper, right? I'm not sure. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know if he still works for Al Akhbar newspaper, but he has his own podcast, and also he has very close relationship to, let's say, the political wing of Hezbollah and also to the Iranian government. He has lots of contacts in the Iranian government, among the diplomats, and among probably also some of the IRGC people. I'm saying probably. But he is a very connected person. And Hassan Ali posted this. It's in Arabic. I will just translate it quickly for you. He says, intelligence obtained by Iran. So he received this information from Iran, and Iran had this intelligence information that a major country indicates the imminent start of the American invasion of Iranian islands near the Strait of Hormuz. So he's saying that he received Iran obtained the intelligence from a major country indicates the imminent start of the American invasion of Iranian islands near the Strait of Hormuz, launching from territories controlled by the Emirati regime. Advice to friends in the UAE: when this invasion begins, leave quickly by land toward Oman or toward Saudi Arabia. For the start of this invasion will make the Iranian response to the Emirati regime something no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind of bin Zayed has imagined. Winter is coming for House Nahyan. Now, of course, he might be a little bit exaggerating in his, let's say, how he described it, although I don't think it's an exaggeration that Iran will imminently, it is something that is imminent. They will destroy the UAE leadership for sure. And if there are people from the UAE watching, and I know that there are people from the UAE are watching, and they have watched this and they have reached me out several times, they invited me to the UAE and I didn't go. I know they're watching. And I would say, I would tell to them that shake the hands of the Iranians is better than destroying your country. Iran is there to stay. Iran is there, is your neighbor, and America has come from 12 to 13,000 kilometers to your country using your territory to invade another country. And it's a suicidal mission. It's a suicidal policy that any rational person would raise questions and ask why. If you're an observer, if you're a politician, if you are an analyst, if you're just a YouTuber, a talking head, the first thing you would ask is, why would the Emiratis do something like this? Like, it makes no sense from a rational point of view. It makes no sense from an interest point of view. And it makes no sense from the survival point of view. Which means there is another factor, guys, is beneath the surface that we don't know. This is just my speculation and might be wrong. There could be a hidden factor that we don't know. And this could be related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, because remember, one of the most famous Emirati multi-billionaires, basically, he was very close friend to Jeffrey Epstein. He was named many, many times in Jeffrey Epstein. He was in his house many times with Jeffrey Epstein. He was on his island. And he used to own one of the biggest ports, I think, in the UAE, very close ties to the Ben Zayed and Al Nahyan families. I'm not really sure. Probably there is something hidden that we don't know. But it makes no sense. Why would you put yourself, a country of this size, in jeopardy against a country of this size with great military capabilities just on the other side of the shore? It makes no sense. There has to be something, a factor that we personally cannot see, and that something is probably related to their relationship to Israel, to the Zionists, to Jeffrey Epstein class, and they could be compromised. That's all what I'm saying. So the first goal of this ground invasion, as it's claimed by Trump, by the mainstream press, by the so-called sources, is the Khark Island. And the second goal that they are speculating now, it's even crazier. So this is from the Wall Street Journal. They say Trump weighs military operation to extract Iran's uranium. So they want to send troops to Iran to take their enriched uranium and go out of Iran untouched. I don't know how it's going to happen, but this is the alleged plan. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So we, I use this website to read the article, which is now, yeah. So President Trump is weighing a military operation to extract nearly 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. According to US officials, a complex and risky mission that would likely put American forces inside the country for days or longer. Trump hasn't made a decision on whether to give the order, the officials said, adding that he is considering the danger to US troops, but the president remains generally open to the idea because it could help accomplish his central goal of preventing Iran from ever making a nuclear weapon. The president has also encouraged his advisors to press Iran to agree to surrender the material as a condition for ending the war. Trump has been clear in conversations with political allies that Iranians cannot keep the material, and he has discussed seizing it by force if Iran won't give it up at the negotiating table. Pakistan, Turkey, and Egypt have acted as intermediaries between the US and Iran, but Washington and Tehran haven't yet engaged in direct negotiations. The crazy thing about this demand is that Iran already accepted during the negotiations to give them the enriched uranium. Like when Witkoff and Kushner, they were meeting with the Iranian diplomats, and the Omanis were mediating. Iranians said, take it. We don't want this 60% enriched uranium, although I would believe that would have been a grave mistake for the Iranian system there. But they told the Americans that they're ready to give up their enriched uranium in exchange for long-term security guarantees that such attacks would never happen. They already accepted the demand before the war. Now that the war is happening, the Iranians have found that, no, it seems that these people aren't serious about a peace with us. They are serious about destabilizing our country. And now we are not going to give up our enriched uranium. The Americans have pushed the Iranians, the Israelis and the Americans have pushed the Iranians into this situation that they are now more hardened, and they're not going to accept giving up their enriched uranium, something that they have agreed under more peaceful environment when there were negotiations. But the Americans and the Israelis came and bombed them during the negotiations when the Iranians said, we're ready to give up our enriched uranium. And this was confirmed by the Omani foreign minister. So nobody can come nowadays and say this was untrue and this is something that the Iranians have claimed. The Omani foreign minister, who was the mediator, who was present there, also Jonathan Powell, the British asset, he also confirmed that this is true, and the Iranians were ready to give up their 60% enriched uranium. And despite that, the Americans, the Trump administration has gone along with the Benjamin Netanyahu Milokovsky's plans to bomb Iran. So now we are in a situation where Strait of Hormuz is closed. They cannot take away the enriched uranium. Their regional allies have been decimated and their economies have been exhausted. The global economy is near a recession. And now the Americans want to come to the Khark and to do what? To destroy Iran's fuel and energy resources. And what is going to be the impact of this on the global economy? Are they even thinking about it? And if that doesn't work, or if the plan B is the real plan, they will send 5 to 10,000 commandos into Iran, land, take over the enriched uranium. No, go in the bunker in the most militarized, heavy defended region. It's not Hollywood. This is not Hollywood. It doesn't work that way. And going deep inside, take over the enriched uranium in a hostile environment, put them in cargoes, and then send them out. It's a suicide mission. It's a suicide mission for the Americans to understand. So, before Israel and the United States conducted a series of airstrikes on Iran in June last year, the country was believed to have more than 400 kilograms of 60% highly enriched uranium and nearly 200 kilograms of 20%. This is fossil or fissile material, which is easily converted into 90% weapons-grade uranium. The president and at least some of his allies have said privately it would be possible to seize the material in a targeted operation that wouldn't significantly extend the timeline of the war and still enable the US to be done with the conflict by mid-April. Any move to seize the uranium by force would be complex and dangerous, former US military officers and experts said, ranking among the most challenging operations ordered by Trump. The potential operation, which would likely trigger retaliation from Iran, could also lengthen the war well beyond the 4 to 6 week time frame that Trump's team has publicly outlined. Teams of US forces would need to fly to the skies, likely under fire from Iranians. Like, imagine this is the operation. So teams from US forces would need to fly to the sites, likely under fire from Iranian surface-to-air missiles and drones. Once on site, so they have to land, combat troops would need to secure perimeters so that engineers with excavating equipment could reach through debris and check for mines and booby traps. The extraction of the material would likely need to be conducted by an elite special operations team, specially trained to remove radioactive material from a conflict zone. Unless an airfield was available, a makeshift one would need to be set up to bring equipment in and take the nuclear material out. The entire operation would take days or even a week to complete. US troops could avoid such a dangerous operation if Iran agreed to hand over its uranium as part of a peace settlement. The US has previously removed enriched uranium. These are just previously under very stable circumstances when there was no war zone. Iran isn't currently enriching uranium, US officials have said, and would need to enrich it to weapon grade and also build a warhead or bomb if it wanted to become a nuclear weapon state. Iran also doesn't have an intercontinental ballistic missile that can reach the American homeland, but could have dozens of them by 2023, 2033, 35, should Iran choose to adapt its space launch vehicles. So, helicopters, fighter jets, flying in the most militarized space in the world, landing underground with specialists among them, engaging with Iranians, 500,000 soldiers probably, going into the bunker and staying there for days, probably a week or two, dismantle or take over the enriched uranium, put them in proper cargoes, take them out, and then what? Put them on a plane, put them on a ship, put them on a bus. What are they going to do with it? How are they going to transfer it? It's tons and tons and tons of stuff. For me, it looks like a suicide mission. Maybe you guys are more knowledgeable about these military affairs and you may think that this could work, please enlighten us. Really, I'm serious. Please write in the comments. I'm interested in understanding what's inside this skull of Donald J. Trump. Of course, the US is not only speaking about, by the way, taking over Khark or taking over the uranium of Iran. They're also talking about taking over the oil. So this is Donald Trump talking to the Financial Times on Sunday. Like, this is an interview he has given to the Financial Times, and he said that his preference would be to take the oil. And he compared it to the Venezuela model, where the US basically has controlled the oil industry indefinitely, or this is what they intend on doing, following the illegal capture of Nicolas Maduro in January. Trump said, to be honest with you, my favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran, but some stupid people back in the US say, why are you doing that? But they are stupid people. This is the president of the United States, my friends. This is the IQ level. So he wants to take over the Khark Island in his mind, and through the Khark Island, he wants to export the oil to the outside world. Meanwhile, they are still facing the Iranian IRGC, the regular army, and the entire population of Iran, 90 million of them. But an assault on the export hub would be risky, he says. He means on the Khark Island, raising the chances of more US casualties and extending the cost and duration of the war. He says, maybe we take the Khark Island, maybe we don't. We have lots of options. It would also mean we had to be there in the Khark Island for a while. And when he was asked about the state of Iranian defense on Khark Island, he said, I don't think they have any defense. We could take it very easily. They don't have any defenses, guys. They don't have any defenses to the extent that only a few days ago, the Iranians have attacked an American airbase in Saudi Arabia, and this was on Friday. They wounded 12 American troops, and they have damaged $270 million worth of surveillance aircraft. The name of the surveillance aircraft is USE-3. This is the plane that I'm going to show you now. This is what they have lost, basically.
Here's what Iran did that nobody...
Okay. I was shouting all this time. This was not working. Anyways, let's take a look.
Here's what Iran did that nobody's talking about loudly enough. They didn't just wound some American soldiers at a Saudi airbase. They surgically destroyed the plane that gave the U.S. military its eyes. And America had no good answer for it. Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. Iranian ballistic missiles and drones punch through U.S. air defenses. More than 10 American soldiers go down. 2 are critical. But look at what else is burning on the tarmac. Tail number 81-0005, an E-3G Sentry.
So this was the plane, and I think, just a second, let me show you the, yes, this is the wreckage. Anyways, this is not just damaged, this is destroyed, as one of our commentators said. 100% true. So good luck with that. Not for the Americans in Iran. And in this case, of course, Iran has promised to set US troops on fire, and we have to take them seriously because they have proven over and over again to be serious people, and they have a strategy and they have a plan. We shouldn't underestimate what they are saying, and we should listen to them carefully. And this is what the Iranians are saying. So they promised this, to set US troops on fire if Washington launches a ground invasion. The speaker of the Iran's parliament accused the Trump administration of exaggerating peace talks in public while plotting a secret invasion. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who is believed to play a central role in negotiations, said the enemy openly sends a message of negotiation and dialogue and secretly plans a ground attack, unaware that our men are waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever. Our firing continues. Our missiles are in place. Our determination and faith have increased. We are aware of the weaknesses of the enemy, and we can clearly see the effects of terror in the enemy's army. The US is preparing for a weeks-long ground invasion in Iran. This is according to several officials in the US administrations. So the plans drawn up by the Pentagon include potential raids on Khark Island, Tehran's main oil export hub, and attacks on coastal sites near the Strait of Hormuz. The first batch of US Marines arrived in the Middle East, by the way, over the weekend, just 2 days ago, as foreign ministers from across the Gulf met in Islamabad to discuss ending the war. There was no immediate evidence of US or Iranian officials joining the peace talks on Sunday. And these Gulf countries, I just want to show you this video, to be honest with you. I think it's important to show this video. This is, in my opinion, these Gulf countries have no shame, truly have no shame. This has nothing to do with policy. This has nothing to do with what they believe. It's just these people. The other day when I asked our friend last week, Mudar Medad, Firas Medad, not Firas, Medad. He said, as Bashar al-Assad said, they are like half men. And it truly looks like that way. Like these people don't have any guts to confront the Americans or anybody else in the region. And Firas Medad was correct in my opinion on this. And I will show you this video of Donald Trump basically talking about MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. And this is what he said about him.
He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser, where the country was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
You tell him he better be nice to me.
So MBS didn't expect to kiss the ass of Donald Trump. This is in his words. And he better be nice to me. This is how he speaks about his own ally. So imagine, in my opinion, like these Gulf countries are because they didn't build any independent strategic posture in the region. So two doors for these Gulf monarchies, of course, except for Oman. Oman is playing a very good role in this. Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and the rest. The first door for them is kiss the ass of Donald Trump. This is what Donald Trump is saying. And the second door is handshake with Iran. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, they are already lining up at door one to kiss Donald Trump's ass. Well, it's your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice in the Gulf. But the world is no longer functioning and even thinking the same way. I'm going to show you two examples of why the world is no longer the same way. And this is coming from Germany. First one is from the left. So this is a left-wing politician. His name is Michael Luders. Michael Luders has been or was on a podcast the other day. And he says, Michael Luders in podcast with Salim Samatu, he says, being a transatlanticist means that as a German, you check your brain at the code check and find everything good that Americans tell you.
Ja, ich sehe mal, der Merz sagt da, ich bin Transatlantik. Was soll das bedeuten, Bro?
Transatlantiker bedeutet, dass du als Deutscher dein Gehirn an der Garderobe abgibst und alles gut findest, was die Amerikaner dir mitteilen.
So transatlanticism means that you give your brain in the garderobe. This is where we put our jackets or our bags when we go, for example, to a restaurant or a club or a bar or somewhere. And you put your brain in the garderobe and you say, well, our interests align perfectly 100% with the Americans.
Ja, ich sehe mal, der Merz sagt da, ich bin Transatlantik. Was soll das bedeuten, Bro?
Transatlantiker bedeutet, dass du als Deutscher dein Gehirn an der Garderobe abgibst und alles gut findest, was die Amerikaner dir mitteilen. Das finde ich auch gut. Als wären die US-amerikanischen und die deutschen Interessen identisch. Ja? So blöd kannst du gar nicht sein. Niemand wird so geboren.
So he says, it can't be more stupid than this. It's like these transatlanticist people are claiming that, oh, American interests are identical with German interests, and there is no difference between them. So he says it can't be more blurred. It's like
Das
stupid.
musst du wollen. Und die wollen das auch, weil sie eben das ist für die, das ist wie Kuscheln. Das
This is this guy drinking a beer in the podcast.
Kuscheln. Das ist der Sugar Daddy, das ist der Übervater. Und für
Ja.
die, unsere
This is like they see the United States as their sugar daddy, he says.
Transatlantiker, die also glauben, deutsche Interessen seien identisch mit US-amerikanischen, für diese geborenen Vasallen, die erleben jetzt gerade ihren GAU. Ja, das ist für die ein ödipales Unglück. Der Übervater, also in diesem Fall der US-Präsident, der hat uns nicht mehr lieb. Ja, wenn du aber jahrzehntelang davon gelebt hast, immer nur zu gucken, Washington, wir hören deine Signale, was sollen wir tun? Ist die Erde nun rund oder doch eher eine Kugel? Je nachdem, welchen Tipp ihr uns gibt, wir folgen dem. Und jetzt ist auf einmal keine Losung mehr, die man übernehmen könnte seitens der USA. Der musste anfangen, selber zu denken. Aber
Anyways, he's calling for independent thinking in Germany, and that not all the time German interests are identical to the American interests. And if you're a transatlanticist, basically you're American more than you're a German in this case. And I totally agree with this assessment. And I have this affinity, is this the right word? It's like I have this good feeling about him, Michael Luders. He has been really critical of the German foreign policy in the past decade since I came in Germany. He has been correct on Syria. He doesn't go all the step to the right to the right direction, but he's trying, especially on Syria. He has been good. He has been telling the truth about that. He has been telling the truth about Palestine. And now there is this general mood also in Germany among ordinary people. Like, why would us as German people now, or people who live in Germany, basically, why would we suffer economically for a decision and an action done by the United States in the Strait of Hormuz or against Iran? This is not our war, but what we pay the price. But then you have politicians in the German Bundestag and in the government. They are, every time Americans take an action, they are supporting them. There is no objections to whatever the Americans are doing. And all the time, our partners in the United States are correct to go to Iran. Our partners in the United States have taken the strategic interests of the United States and Germany into the consideration. We should support our American partners in this against this mullah regime. It's all the time. You feel like these people have been captured by the Zionist lobby or something. There is no critical thinking. This is not correct. Not always the Americans take the interests of Germany into consideration. They don't even take the interests of the American people into consideration. Do you really think they care about the German people more than their own people? They don't even care about their own people. Are you nuts? It's crazy sometimes to listen to these people. And why would I go and pay double the price for my fuel nowadays to just run my car? Why would I pay the triple of my electricity bill because of the war in Ukraine? Why? What is the purpose when the Americans destroyed the Nord Stream pipelines? Haven't we, the people here, paid triple for our electricity bills? So why? And if the German government want to decrease the pressure on the people a little bit, for example, you go to fill your tank in the car, like over 50% of it is tax. Like if you're paying €2 per liter for a benzene or for a diesel, half of it is tax. Half of it is tax. Why don't they diminish the taxes a little bit so the people can breathe? So the prices would be more manageable, so the production would go on again. So this is where I find myself more, let's say, close to what the right-wingers say. Why don't we decrease this taxation system? Why don't we encourage the people to have more families, more babies? Why don't we decrease these taxes on the fuel and the energy resources so that the companies would operate better, so the people's pockets would be a little bit filled to buy the products that the Germans are producing anyways? Nowadays, who in Germany can, I'm serious, who in Germany has the guts to go and buy an apartment, a house, or anything? Everything has become so expensive, so overpriced. Like if you want to eat healthy and go and buy bio food, which, to be honest with you, I care about my health, and I don't want to eat food that is tastes bad. The animal has not been taken care of. It has been fed, sorry to say, crap. It impacts you. You get ill and you get cancer, and lots of things happen, God forbid. So I want to eat healthy, and I go to the bio market to buy the essential things because I eat only few things anyways, like Greek yogurt, eggs, and etc. and berries. Everything is crazy expensive. I truly do not understand how would a family of four, if you have one person working in the house, you cannot afford a family of four. It's impossible. It's impossible unless you're in the 1% or very little, small, tiny class of people who can afford that. Everything has become super expensive. So this is a voice I showed you, Michael Luders from the left, right? I think he is from the Bundeswehr Wagenknechts party. And now we have someone on the right from the AfD this time. And this is Tino. So the German AfD co-leader, by the way, they have two leaders. One is Alice Weidel and the second one is Tino Cupola. I always butcher his surname. It's really difficult for me to pronounce his surname. So Tino Cupola is calling for all US troops to be kicked out of Germany, pushing to end decades of American military presence and break from NATO-aligned policy. Around 40,000 US troops are still stationed in Germany. Cupola says Berlin must stop being dragged into foreign conflicts and pursue a fully independent path by 2029. I'm like 100%. I agree with him on this. And I will show you a video of him recently on a German TV. This is on the ARD. This is on the ARD. So they say the AfD party leader Tino Cupola calls in Bericht aus Berlin, or it's like a report from Berlin, for the withdrawal of US troops from Germany and fundamentally opposes the continued stationing of Allied troops and their nuclear weapons. I'm worried about playing this video because these AfD people are really come after videos and hit them with copyright strikes. But I will show you another video, which is again a recent one. This is from the party video, so there won't be any copyright strikes. So this is the Germany's AfD co-chair. He says, Spain closed its bases to the Iran war. Now its ships sailed through Hormuz undisturbed. Germany should do the same and send US troops home. Wallah, Habibi, this is, you have guts to say that. I will just play this video, guys, for you. And you have to focus on the subtitles, right? So I have removed myself. Take a look.
Die Straße von Hormuz bekommen wir nicht mit der Marine frei. Wir dürfen unsere Soldaten auch nicht dort als Zielscheibe servieren. Und deswegen ist es richtig, dass wir uns daran nicht beteiligen, liebe Freunde. Schiffe mit spanischen Gittern dürfen die Straße allerdings passieren. Warum dürfen die Spanier dort durch? Weil Spanien eben seine Basen für den Irankrieg sperrt. Und genau das ist richtig. Spanien mischt sich in diesen Krieg eben nicht ein. Und deshalb fangen wir an, wie es in unserem Grundsatzprogramm auch steht, fangen wir an, auch das umzusetzen mit dem Abzug der US-Truppen aus Deutschland, liebe Freunde.
Well, I have seen a lot of interaction on social media platform and reactions to this speech, and many people on the right and the left, they're saying we will put our differences aside with the AfD and we support this. And some people say AfD are against Democrats. Habibi, it's like, this is so ridiculous. Like as if there are people who really respect the Democrats or the democracy in Germany. AfD is not on the side of US-Israel all the time. They have people who are, as you can see, like Tino, against, and they have people with. So you cannot generalize about that. And Spain has a leftist government. Yeah, he has a leftist government. I support a leftist government that is not giving America the access to use their airfields to bomb Iran. And I would support the right-wing people who say they want to kick the American forces out for them to regain their sovereignty. I don't find any controversy in that. I don't really. I'm not a follower of left and right and all these things. This is distraction, guys. We have to really understand left and right and center. Those are distractions. The real issue is vertical. It's not horizontal. The real issue is vertical. The issue is the people with the ordinary people against the people who are robbing us. This is the issue. Everyone who comes and say, yeah, but this is a right wing, this is a left wing. I'm sorry. You're already fallen into the trap. This is in my opinion. I'm just being honest with you guys. If you follow left and right and center, you're already playing the game that they have set for you. The issue is like this. It's as we have spoken about, the empire above Epstein and the people who are really in charge of the world and funneling money and building hierarchies and bureaucracies for these so-called politicians, like playing the monkey role, like the clown, entertainment for the people. We have to be really, really serious when we want to analyze these things, because once we start excluding people like Tino is a serious person. Tino has a very comprehensive and solid understanding of geopolitics. I have listened to him in length. He is a supporter and a proponent of a multipolar world in which Germany is allied with Russia, China, and the United States. Unlike other people in the AfD, which when I listen to them, it's like, I want to throw up. They're just Zionists. And the same thing goes for the Greens. The same thing goes for the Linke. The same thing goes for the CDU and the FDP. In every party, you have certain people, very few of them, who are reasonable, rational, which I would support. I don't care about the left and the right and the center, as I said multiple times. And the day when we play with the rules of the game they have set for us, we have already few steps back and behind in the race against the people who are trying to have these severe consequences upon us. Like, they're inflicting severe pain on the people with their wars and distractions. So our war is not against the left or right. Our struggle is against the Epstein class, is against the criminal psychopathic class, is against the people who are playing with the fate of billions of people around the world. This is the people that we need to struggle against, and not people like Tino and trying to exclude them because somebody says AfD is a US-Israel allied. No, that's not the way we have to see things. We have to encourage people in parties who have taken the correct position instead of excluding them just because somebody called them a right wing. So this is my position, and everybody is free to have his own position. So I'm going to show you a few things, because people are like, this AfD is against the democracy. They are against Democrats. Okay, let me show you what the real Democrats in Germany are doing nowadays, right? Since you guys probably think, or some of you think that there is a democracy in Germany, well, here is your democratic leader. This is yesterday. Abu Muhammad Jolani landed in Berlin, and he was received by the beautiful class of Democrats, right? So this is Abu Muhammad Jolani in the Berlin on a red carpet treatment. And then you have Abu Muhammad Jolani receiving the largest security convoy. So as you can see, guys, even the president of the United States probably didn't receive this much of protection, which shows you how much Abu Muhammad Jolani is important for them. This is the German secret services, the police are bringing Abu Muhammad Jolani, the founder and the leader of Al-Qaeda in Syria, from the airport to the city. See? This is how much important he is, and those are the Democrats, right? AfD is against democracy. Well, those are the Democrats They claim to be pro-democracy, receiving and giving a red carpet treatment to who? Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. Tells you everything you need to know about human rights and democracy. And they even given him a 5-star hotel in Germany. They say ex-jihadist wohnt in Berliner 5-Sterne Hotel. An ex-jihadist lives or he's in a hotel in a 5-star hotel in Berlin. And funny enough, yesterday I was seriously, I'm so fucking serious. Yesterday I just drove like next to the hotel of this hotel, and I was trying to drive my wife to a place, and it was so crowded. I didn't know what is going on. I didn't even know if it's Jolani or not. And everywhere was blocked. So my wife said, okay, I have to go out. I have my appointment, and I take a public transport to go, because underground public transport, because everywhere was closed. And I had to stay there for 30 minutes. Probably that was Abu Muhammad al-Jolani coming to Berlin. It would have been my utmost pleasure to see Abu Muhammad al-Jolani and just bring my window down, and tell him the correct description of him in Arabic, in the Aleppo dialect. Those words include words like Ya Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, Ya Afsa, Ya Irhabi. He would have looked for sure. That would have been my utmost pleasure to see him. Unfortunately, I didn't. And by the way, he met with the Syrian diaspora, those who support him, of course. And there was they were singing Allahu Akbar for him. And this is, by the way, in the build. It's not like in the AFD aligned newspaper. This is in the build, basically. Allahu Akbar für ex-terrorist. So Allahu Akbar shores or course for ex-terrorists at the Ritz in Berlin. So he was in the Ritz hotel, and they've been celebrating him with some Allahu Akbars there. And we have a video of it, by the way. So this is him. Can somebody please tell me what's the purpose of going to the street and saying our leader forever is Prophet Muhammad? It's like, okay, yeah, it's your prophet, it's your leader, I respect it. But why in German streets, thousands and thousands of them, our leader forever is Prophet Muhammad? I don't understand. What's the political significance of it? Why would people say something like this, especially those who support Jolani? And if your leader forever is Prophet Muhammad, maybe you should go to the Islamic Emirate that Jolani has created in Syria and live there. But you want to stay here, you want to create an Islamic caliphate in Syria, and you want to live in a secular country and enjoy the benefits here. It's utter hypocrisy. Sorry, I cannot describe it any other way. And this is all happening. By the way, this is just quickly to show you. Abu Muhammad al-Jolani has also met with Friedrich Merz. Just quickly. So this is the Bundestag here. This is the Chancellery here. This is where Friedrich Merz works, and they're overlooking to the parliament, basically. By the way, all this is happening while in Syria there is a pogrom against the Christians. I don't know if you heard about it, guys. So Christian shops in As-Sukhailbiya, this is a small city in northern Hama, are being destroyed by Jolani's thugs. Shame on everyone who delivered the country on sectarian thuggery. Look what they're doing to the shops. So this is what they're doing in Syria nowadays to the Christians. And this is another video. Those are Jolani's official forces in Damascus. They go to this poor man's shop and they're destroying his mini market because he's selling an alcohol. Look. Look. This is from the official army of the fucking so-called Syrian army. Those are the people. Look. Those are Jolani's thugs. Look at this poor man. They're humiliating him. You see? This is what is happening. And this is who you, Friedrich Merz, you received today. You shook hands with this person whose soldiers are doing this, not only to the Christians, to the Jews, to the Kurds, to the Alawites, to anyone who refuses their Wahhabi Takfiri ideology. And you guys are normalizing him because you want to send the refugees back. Some reports say 80% of the Syrian refugees will be returned to Syria. Of course, Germans probably would be happy about it. But imagine what type of regime you're normalizing. You rejected the Assad regime because he was not democratic enough for your taste. Is this the democracy? Is this the democracy in Syria now, that people can't even sell alcohol? And this comes from someone who is an anti-alcohol person. I don't drink alcohol. Is this the regime that you guys endorse? Don't you feel ashamed, like watching these videos? I'm sure somebody has shown you these photos and this it was even reported in the German press. So did you tell him something, Friedrich Merz? Did you tell him something? Did you tell him what's going on in your country? Did you ask him if he's even in charge? Can he control his army? Is he endorsing these crimes? For the past 100 years, the churches in Syria have never canceled the Palm Sunday. Never. Only this Sunday. Only under the terrorist Abu Muhammad al-Jolani because of these pogroms against them. Only a few churches were open with lots of security around them with their AK-47s and with their Takfiri beards. Is this the environment for the Christians in Syria? For the indigenous Syrian people? I'm I don't have more words to say because the words that are going on in my brain would put me in a legal challenge if I say any more words about this. This is what you have done. Cancel the Palm Sunday in Syria because a fucking terrorist like Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, you like him more than Assad. Make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense anyways. So if you guys were like, oh, I don't like AFD, they are anti-democratic, this is your democracy. Bravo. Normalizing Abu Muhammad al-Jolani and his regime. Sorry, if you believe those are the Democrats in the world. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's stream. I truly appreciate you all, whether you watch this on YouTube or on Rumble. And thank you so much, Aida Sarkisian Habibti, for the generous support. Kalus Gulbenkian gets 5% of Iranian oil till now. I don't know this information, dear friend Aida, but I can ask Kalus Gulbenkian if he gets any 5% of Iranian oil till now. I could ask my sources in Iran. Thank you so much also for our dear friend Red Access for moderating the live chat. I truly appreciate you guys. If you like this stream, please hit the like button, subscribe to Syriana Analysis. And if you like to support the independent work I'm doing, the link is scrolling on the screen, patreon.com/Syriana Analysis. If you don't like using Patreon or you want to use any other means, they are all in the description below. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace be upon you families. Salam.